Hey, what's up everyone? My name's Walter, and I'm back here to talk about Neckbeards again. A heads up, the story today is part 3 of a series, so I will link to the first one in the description in case you haven't seen it. Neckbeards are chivalrous beings who have vested interests in anime, body pillows, katanas. They like to promote atheism, usually, not always. And many of them have a beard on their neck. Anyway, the guy today is a little different in the first place, so let's get started with more Neckbeards from Reddit. As usual, let's begin this with a few posts from Reddit Just Neckbeard Things. This first one is actually about 50 Shades of Grey, I think, so let's check it out. But a lot of women obviously see that as a wonderful relationship. That's why such crap became this famous. Criticize them, not the fact that the book picked the topic. By all means criticize the book as well, but not the fact that the author chose this kind of material without using it as a chance to lecture. IRL people have their bad relationships and do fucked up things without getting any justice. Some people relate to bad characters or wish for a bad relationship. We're talking about masses of women here who picked this. The book didn't affect their minds chose the book. Fuck, the author is just one of them, a not very smart woman dreaming of a guy like Grey. So in that sense, inadvertently, the poorly written book is actually an accurate insight into an average or certain female mind. Okay, there's a big difference between average and certain here. You can't just say one or the other like it's an equal chance. Also, reading the book doesn't mean they want to be in it. I've certainly watched porn I wouldn't necessarily join in. There is no way you swiped right on purpose. You said you were listening to Kitty Cat all day in that picture with the fruit. What was I supposed to do? I'm only 5'8", I'm sorry. I'm also 5'8". Are you trying to get rid of me? LMAO? Nah, I'm not. I just know 6 feet or taller is required. Did I say that, or are you making a generalization about women's expectations of you based on women you've interacted with in the past? I just turned 29 this past week, and since 18, it's kind of been a societal thing. Yeah, and look at this comment. Not gonna lie, I would call bullshit too if a girl showed any interest in me. Then going back sobbing while listening to death metal. No, don't do that. It's self-defeating behavior. Women probably don't want guys who sob in the corner. And as a teacher, this is why more teachers are leaving the profession than ever. Hey teacher, would you like to date a handsome student? I'm scared. Don't worry, I'll protect you, queen. I am still considering a creepy PMs video for old time's sake, by the way. Look, another confused woman who can't get an alpha male because her attitude is that of a 2-bit whore and her work ethic is less than that of a lame house cat. So she settled for a beta simp she can dominate to feel powerful, on here spreading her uninformed knowledge, opinion. Guys who use the term alpha male completely seriously are never very impressive. I use the word to refer to the archetype but don't really believe in it. It is so hard to find posts on here 2 days in a row. Check out this keyboard. Weeb board? Anyway, people in the comments are asking how you know where the keys are. Come on, anyone who orders this keyboard probably knows how to type. With one hand even. Okay, let's move on to the meat and potatoes here. This story comes to us from Reddit Neckbeard Stories. I dated a neckbeard cell who fancied himself as Christian Grey, Part 3. So here comes the near end of me jotting down my turbulent 6-month excruciating relationship with Christian. This second to last episode will by far be the most stomach-churning and fucked up one. I mentioned in my last post that the breakup will be in this one, but that's only partially true. I didn't realize how much more I needed to discuss with you. It's December 31st, 2018. I am leaving a family event to go pick up Christian from the airport. Again, I had that nasty gut feeling I didn't know what was to come. I vowed myself again that if this trip went wrong in any way, it's over for my own sanity. I pick up Christian from the airport, and all is well till I get on the freeway. He had his seatbelt on when I started driving, but soon I hear the beeping that signals someone took their belt off. I didn't hear Christian shuffling around at first because it's 3 a.m. and I'm trying to focus on my 2-hour drive home, but I see something out of the corner of my eye soon. I'm going to describe this to the best of my ability. Christian is sitting on the front seat floor of the car, shuffling through his backpack. I'm going at least 70 to 75 on the freeway. I was in shock. First of all, I am driving on the freeway and there is a passenger on the floor of my car without a seatbelt on. Second, I know this man was tiny, 5'7", maybe 135 to 140 pounds, but how the fuck could he fit there? I scream at him to get back in his seat and ask what was he thinking. This man looks up at me and goes, "Stop overreacting, it's no big deal," as calm as possible and keeps shuffling through the bag. I do the only thing I can to prevent the possibility of manslaughter, and I pull over until he's done. Now he's angry and starts berating me for being a nagging bitch again. I don't say much and keep on driving. We get home and I crash immediately as it's after 5 a.m. Gotta feel like it might be a red flag if you can't make it an hour without getting mad at your significant other the second time you meet them. But pretty much everything this guy's done has been a red flag. I have the next few days of work off, so we go to a local museum. It's cold in the Pacific Northwest. I don't know, 8 to 11 degrees at the time. Cold but still okay to be outside, so of course we dress warmly. He pesters me into wearing heels. Fine, whatever. I bring a backup pair of flats in my bag. We were outside a bit after arrival, and my feet were so cold they were about to fall off. Keep in mind he specifically asked for open-toed heels in like 10-degree weather. I have an iron deficiency. I get cold and I get cold fast. We're also going to be walking around a museum for at least 2 hours, so I put my flats on. I wish I could show you guys the scowl of disgust this man saw when I put on low shoes. Here's our exchange. You're taking them off already? It's only been a few minutes. It's cold outside. We've been walking outside for a bit and the museum is cold. Well, can't you wear them at least a bit longer? Don't you practice walking in them? It's not the height. The shoes are open and it's almost snowing out. You can't hold out a bit longer? If you want someone to wear heels, wear them yourself. I snapped the last part. My feet were in pain from the cold, and I'll be damned if I continue wearing them so he can get his 3-inch soft heart on. So what does this man do? He sulks around the museum, head down, arms crossed, minimal answers, sighing dramatically and just looking like he didn't get a prom date. It was embarrassing. Everyone bear in mind, he's with a woman much younger and more attractive than he is, but does he feel lucky for it? Nah, she wasn't wearing heels in 10-degree weather. How dare she? This catch of a man can't be seen with a woman wearing normal shoes. We go out to dinner and it was fine. We actually had an okay conversation. Then the drive home happens. I was on birth control at the time, but I'm not an idiot, so condoms are still necessary. He brought up the topic of sex. Need I remind you, I hadn't come to terms that I found this man visually and mentally revolting, so we hadn't had sex yet. But I almost pitied him and his 3 inches, so I brought up condoms. He said they were uncomfortable, even though he'd been celibate for a decade. Sure thing, bud, they all say that. I told him condom or it's a no-go. He then started telling me, a woman, about birth control pregnancy rates. I just kept driving. He asked me what birth control I was on, and I couldn't think of the name at the time, and still can't. It was a birth control that didn't have a shortened name, so no one is going to remember that long-ass title. I didn't have the pills on me, so I told him I'd check when I get home. He asked me what did it look like. It was just an unassuming white pill, so there's really nothing special. This hero of a man took it upon himself to search Google images of birth control pills and shove the phone in my face while I'm driving. Does it look like this? How about this one? What about this? This man was legit scrolling through images of birth control and putting his phone in my face as I drive. I think I even saw an Aleve soft gel in there. I yell at him that I was driving and to get his fucking phone out of my face. He goes back to sulking after telling me to relax. It's not a big deal. You probably won't get pregnant. You could always get an abortion anyways, he mutters to himself as he dramatically sighs and looks out the passenger window. This is even funnier. Despite her not being attracted to him, she was still willing to sleep with him. So what does this man on a 9-year dry spell do? Well, he refuses if he has to use a condom. Once again, she's way more attractive than he is. The fuck is wrong with this guy? It's probably for the best. He probably would have bought magnums and said it accidentally fell off or something. At this point, I'm scared. He was willing to get us into a car accident, convincing me to have condomless sex with him. I sit in silence and think to myself. I was sure he wouldn't try to assault me. As dumb as he is, I had more weight on him, and I was lifting weights at the time. I knew I could throw a punch and knock him the fuck out if needed. As dumb as he is, he and I both knew his expertise lied in mentally wearing a person down and playing mind games, which explained his gaslighting and narcissism. So I made a point to keep my wits about me and keep one thought ahead of him. A lot of things after that were kind of a blur. I went back to work and he laid on his ass all day and just played on Reddit. He was a mod for a massive community until he got banned and he claimed that was his work. He used terms like second in command, captain, sergeant general to describe his roles as a mod. I thought he made me cringe before, but I could not stop my face from contorting whenever he said any of these roles aloud. He assured me spending time on Reddit would help him exceed his programming skills. I mean, he could look for an actual programming job, but okay. I let my coworker know about all this, and she expressed her distaste for Christian Grey the day of. I don't know why I didn't listen to her. We all do dumb things. But one day at work, I don't remember what specifically led up to it, but Christian and I started fighting. I know for a fact he called me a name and insulted my appearance, and this time I ripped him a new one. He tried his old tactic of me misunderstanding him, but I had screenshots to shoot back at him showing exactly what he said. He got quiet for a long time. I mean hours. I assume he was thinking of a plan. Eventually he gets back to me and says he had just been kidding and didn't know why I was overreacting. No, none of that. I told him he knew exactly what he said and he had intentions to hurt me, and I told him we were going to need to have a talk when we get home. I assume he knew what we'd be discussing, so he changed his tone. He went back to the wounded animal stance, that he was just a victim. He didn't mean it. I wasn't budging, so he pulled another weapon out of his arsenal. He was going to commit suicide that night. I don't know how he's going to reconcile suicide threats with the fact that he's trying to convince her he'll support her for the rest of his life. He sure seems stable now, with a great career as a Reddit mod. I'm not proud of it, but I just sighed and held my head in my hands. Everyone knew he was bluffing, but in the very off chance he meant it, I slowed the conversation and just told him we'd talk tonight. He kept going on about how his life was worthless and how he just wanted to end it all, and I just let it happen. I didn't know what to do. I hardly believed him, but at the same time I didn't want to egg him on. I get back home and he tries to act like nothing ever happened, but no, I made him sit down and told him about how I felt. I was tired of his verbal abuse, I was tired of him forcing femininity on me, I was tired of him acting like he was the greatest gift a woman could have. And I was tired of him lazing around all day, leaving my place a mess and not doing a thing. He'd lay in bed till around 3 p.m., then just play on Reddit all day. I know he was staying over, but Jesus, go on a walk, clean up your mess, do something productive. I told him I wanted to break up. I felt no love for him and the relationship shouldn't have happened. I agreed to it on a whim and didn't think it through, which is true. Christian's response was to burst into tears and tell me that I was making a mistake. He knows he treated me badly, but I was so nice and kind he hoped I'd forgive him. I told him everyone makes mistakes, but at this point he is intentionally hurting me and he knows it. He said it was his illness. I told him even if that is true, it's not fair to me still. Then he drops something so bizarre. He says, "Well, I've been living with my mom for so long and haven't dated in years, so I'm still learning, it's a process." You'd think if you were living with your mom, she might teach you not to be abusive. By the way, have we ever heard this excuse from a neckbeard before? I don't think so, and it's pretty impressive that he came up with something new. What the fuck are you, a baby? You learn how to treat people decent in fucking preschool. I was just dumbfounded. He then kept pleading with me to give him another chance. I'm not proud of what I did, but I hatched a plan. I told him I'd give him another chance, but didn't tell him that I was going to break up with him after he left. I somehow knew he wasn't just going to let me go that easily, especially in person. So with that in mind, I mustered up the courage and just faked the relationship. It was a painful few days, and my only solace was work and grocery shopping. He tried to get me to not go to work several times, actually trying to guilt me for it, but I still went. The straw that broke the camel's back came that weekend. I had an appointment and came back home. I don't know why he did it or how it started, but the moment I got back home, he cornered me into my closet and just started berating me. I'd never been afraid of this guy before, but I was now. I don't remember what he said. I blocked it all out and ran outside. I called the person closest to me and the person I knew Christian was afraid of, my brother. My brother, we'll call Tim, lived about an hour and a half away. He was a busy guy, but if I told him I was in danger, he'd come running. I called him, and I don't know why, but I didn't tell him what happened. I just told him things weren't working out between Christian and me. He could tell something was up and gave me his input. I guess just hearing him made me feel better and gave me the courage I needed. I went back inside and told Christian he needed to leave within the next 2 days because a family emergency with Tim came up. I put emphasis that my brother would be coming over. Say no more. Christian sulked, but he straightened up and said okay. As broke as I was, I offered to pitch in on helping him get another plane ticket. Not to be kind, but to get him the fuck out of my house. Wanna know something? Christian confessed to me he bought a one-way trip. He told me he had the intention of staying with me for at least 3 months. I almost choked. This man is in my home, living here rent-free, doing nothing but abusing me and draining my already drained bank account for months, and he was just going to ride it out as long as he could. I kept my composure and we got him a plane ticket for Monday evening. It seemed the mention of Tim made Christian fearful, so he behaved as much as he could for the next 2 days. Monday came along and I sped home from work so I could take him to the airport. I will admit I was so excited to have him off my hands, I made a couple of wrong turns and delayed the trip and I was in near tears. Thankfully, Christian couldn't pick up on why, he just thought I was already missing him, the poor fool. I get him to the airport, basically shove him out of my car and get back on the road. The emptiness was so welcome, it was almost a surreal feeling. I actually didn't turn on any music for a solid 20 minutes, just appreciating my freedom. Next one will be the actual breakup, and how it took me about 3 weeks to get to it. Get ready. Yes, we are at the end of part 3 and I still have no idea why she started dating this guy, let alone why she kept doing it. I really hope the author realized that almost everything she did here was kind of by the books wrong for getting rid of someone like this. She probably does as she posted the story, I guess. I think I said all I wanted to say during my reading, but if you have something to say, you should definitely let me hear it in the comments. I always enjoy reading those. I thought this was going to be a shorter video, but I guess that wasn't in the cards. Well, let's wrap this up anyway. We have one more part left, and it's a real doozy, by the way. Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. If you liked the video, please leave a like. If you have something to say, let me hear it, of course. Stories like this always get a lot of comments. If you're new here and want more, I'd suggest subscribing, because there's gonna be more. Maybe a lot more. Now it's time that I shout out my generous patrons who give me some extra beer money every month. Or rent money, it doesn't really matter what I spend on what. Jimmo, Daisy Franco, who is new, thank you so much. Lavon, Chris Sturman, Invader Jill, Cody Smith, Brendan Rexford, Dr. A, who is also pretty new, Ouroboros, Daniel Della Pena, Deborah Douglas, Maxo11X, Horatio T, MDB 3000, V stands for, Elvis Needs Boats Bennett, Cho, Shay Parker, Mary Vanorsky, Spoonie the Rogue, Hunter Malcolm, Amanda Gillies, Jacob K, Camper Supreme, Staples Yeet, Knit1 Code 2, Roy, Lil Spoon, Petulant Panda, Shit for Brains, Ms. Mayhem, Jubes, Regrettable Stitches, and Esperova. Thanks so much. Let me know if I got your name wrong. You don't deserve to be mispronounced for helping me out. Of course, thanks again to my regular viewers. I'll be finishing this very soon and hopefully streaming. I used to stream actually, it's hard to get back into it. Have a great day everyone, and have a happy Veterans Day. Hope you all got the day off.